Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a decent weekend, or at least the best of it that you could have. I know things are a bit insane. I know the news was just off the charts both Friday and Saturday yesterday. Today, a little bit of a reprieve. My apologies, by the way, for being a few minutes late. That is fashionably late, not because I look good, but because I had to go to the bathroom, and if I'd have peed my pants, that's not very fashionable. So, anyway, a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of crazy, insane stuff. Let's see. Trying to think, because there is a lot. There is a lot that went on since we've last spoke. I do believe the emergency authorization, yep, that happened since we last spoke. I did do a video on it. And speaking of that, after the show on Thursday, I did a short little goofy video. And I did that because I wanted to acknowledge that there was an incoming CME, but I also wanted to acknowledge that there were a lot of channels out there that were starting to go down the fear road. Yes, it was an X-class flare, but it was an X1, the last I knew, and that's far from a Carrington event. So I knew that it was not anything to be seriously concerned with, but I wouldn't have flown. I wouldn't have flown the drones in it. Not that I fly them a lot anyway, but I would have noted that, and I wouldn't have flown them. So I wouldn't have relied on GPS period for anything. Just kind of common sense. But other than that, of course. I know there was a largely increased opportunity for many folks to see the Northern Lights. I honestly didn't look. I didn't figure, to be honest, that if we would have gotten to see anything, it would have been so minor that probably wouldn't have been much worth the effort of going out, to be honest. That's one thing you will know. Let me make that clear. If we have a major solar event come our way, it will be unmistakable. Okay, you will see it. you will see those energy particles hit that magnetosphere. You'll see it. I guess that's what it. Well, I think it's the magnetosphere, the atmosphere. I think it's like a combination of it all. Not real certain. That's not a specialty of mine, knowing exactly down to the detail what the Northern Lights are, but I didn't figure we'd see them here nonetheless. But I do believe a lot of individuals that live north of us got to see some say Chicago area or Michigan, stuff like that. I think they were supposed to have a little bit more, and then of course on up into Canada and all that was supposed to be obviously an even better display. So it'd be cool. I'd love to see it. It's not something I've ever had the opportunity to see, but always something I wanted to see. So honestly, I think this solar cycle, there's a very good chance that I'm going to get that opportunity at some point. Not saying that we're going to have a kill shot come at us. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But I do think that it is going to be a very, very, very active solar cycle. So, we got that to look forward to, I reckon. So, here on the front, so to speak. Wow, craziness. Like I said, it seems like the vaccine has been pretty well set in stone for kids aged 5 to 11. That is the Pfizer BioNTech. Hang on, let me take this off. Okay, pardon me. Slurping down coffee, and man, that thing's getting a little bit warm. I've got 3 different like pullovers that I wear all the time when it's cooler out. But they're really, really warm, and so if I'm drinking coffee, I typically got to take it off. Anyway, what else happened? Let me see. Let me think. Gosh, there was so much. Of course, there's a large number of individuals in New York City that are in, from my understanding, from what I saw, the ones leading the, what do we want to call it here? Leading the opposition to the vaccine mandates when it comes to New York City employees, if you will. Leading, from my understanding, are the firefighters and the sanitation workers. And then I think you have the law enforcement and EMTs, which is, from my understanding, quite a bit more compliant than the firefighters and the sanitation crew. So you have all that going on. I think the number was 26 I saw earlier. There were like 26 fire stations shut down. From my understanding, that is because a number of firefighters had more or less, I guess, sick leave, and so I guess they didn't have the crews. They had to shut down, I believe it was 26 fire stations in New York City. That's crazy. And remember, I've been saying this. This is just getting started. This is just getting kicked off, folks. Wow, amazing. There were other things I heard too today, and I can't remember. Can't put my finger on it. Involving individuals that were abstaining from taking the vaccine and walking off the job. I think it's Southwest Airlines. Yeah, and actually, it's right there. Oh, no, that's a different story. I think it's Southwest Airlines had to cancel, was the number 1,300? Gosh, I can't remember now. I think it was something like 1,300 flights over the weekend had to be canceled. 17, sorry, my apologies. Here's the headline here. American Airlines it was. American Airlines passengers suffer frightful Halloween weekend with 1,700 flights canceled since Friday amid staffing woes. So, I mean, again, I want to reiterate, this is just getting started. Because these are major, not only major, companies, but also majorly federally involved, more or less federal contractors when it comes to like airlines, right? So, that's a big deal. A lot of this stuff with these mandates haven't necessarily trickled down yet to the smaller businesses. And I highly suspect, that you're going to see largely the same amount of resistance. In fact, I would go on to say that on average, the resistance or opposition, if you will, is probably going to be more equal to what you see with the the firefighters and the sanitation crews of New York City. I think that's a pretty good representation of much of the country. I'm and I'll be honest, I'm pretty shocked and impressed. It did impress me. The amount of opposition, if you will. I don't have a better word for it, really. When it came to the firefighters and the sanitation workers in New York City, and I commend them. That is an impressive number. So we've got that craziness going on. Let's see. I didn't pull up any articles or anything like that because actually I figured I would remember a little bit more than I did right there on the spot. Let's see. The big old, I think it was the COP26 or whatever happened, the UN Climate Change Conference. So several individuals phoned in, if you will. No, attended virtually. Several countries did. Now, not us. No, not us. No. Our big dumb puppy went over. So there was that. I don't know. There's rumors about a particular period of time when I guess he was at the Vatican and that he may have soiled himself. I don't know if it's true. I did Google it because that's kind of part of what I do. And I couldn't really substantiate that. But I did see a story about a dinner or something like that, and it was a week and a half or so ago. The date on the art, I didn't really dig into it, to be honest. But there was claims that this had happened previously. So I don't know. This could be a reoccurring thing. If this is accurate, and I really don't want to jump down rabbit holes or push any of this stuff. I really don't. But we do have to look at it. We have to be honest and we have to ask questions. And if this is really going on, if the current Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America is so far out of their faculties, is that correct to put, or to word it? That they're soiling themselves and that they can't really carry a conversation on. Man, that's not good. Oh, sorry. Oh, all things regarding wholesale. Thank you. Sorry, it was right in front of my face too, and I didn't even see it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I tell you, it's crazy. Oh gosh, sorry to hear that about your situation. That's crazy. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Sorry, I was just kind of spaced out and thinking about everything that's been going on over the past couple of days. There were significant moves that were made over the past couple of days, in my opinion, and I really do think that a couple of them at least partially set us up for this coming week. And I think this coming week is really going to get a little bit crazy. I think that, well, as I said and have been saying for, a month or so now, or close to it, last month those of us and most people in general, we're going to notice the shortages. And I'm going to double down and triple down and say that this month it's going to be inescapable for many people. I don't mean completely inescapable as in people are going to be, beating each other for a can of peaches. But I think that there will be many people that will have to rearrange their food plans because one item or another would be out of stock. And I mean on a much more often scale than what it has been. Because it hasn't been massively bad in most places, but been kind of hit or miss. I think that's going to change this weekend. Or this week, I'm sorry. I think starting this week, there's going to be some serious, noticeable shortages. Now, I got slapped on the hand by Facebook 2 days ago, I believe, for an article that I had shared a day or two prior to that. And I can't remember exactly who it was. I don't think it was Buttigieg. I think it was somebody else. Had said something about how, these shortages weren't going to end until everybody was vaccinated. Something to that effect. And wait a minute, I think I actually did a video on it. I thought I did. I could be wrong. I thought I did a video on it. I might have named the live show something to that effect or something. I don't remember. But I actually got fact checked by Facebook, and they claim that that's not what was meant at all. Well, today, another article comes out, and it was actually pretty shortly before the show, if I recall right. And I thought, And it was essentially saying the exact same thing. Here it is, right here. Get in there. And it's saying essentially the exact same thing. That's what getting everybody vaccinated is all about. Buttigieg admits U.S. supply chain issues won't end until the pandemic does. So, I mean, that's saying the same thing, right? The exact same thing. And so I don't know if I'm going to get fact-checked again from the fact-checkers, but, how many times do they got to say it before we kind of get the message? This is something to be concerned with. If they're just outright, just openly saying to you that unless you do this, unless you take this procedure, we're just going to stop letting you be able to buy goods. We're not going to let you be able to make an income. We're just going to take away every chance at survival in a modern world away. That's what concerns me with all of this the most. In all honesty, that's what really bothers me. The lengths in which they will go. That's what tells me something's not adding up. That's me. I'm not saying for anybody else or anything. I'm just saying my opinion for me. Something's not right. And I have a feeling that just as much as, we the people's opposition if you will, is becoming more and more apparent and larger in numbers, I think so is their coercion. I think they're really going to ramp it up. And I do think that it's going to be a dark winter for many. For many. And I honestly feel like much of that will be punishment. I've said it before, but man, it's like I feel it in my bones. That's what we got staring at us. So anyway, I'm going to jump to some headlines. We do have quite a few of them. And so we'll just get through them and go from there. I think we're going to have, like I say, a plenty busy week. And I don't think, I don't know that it's going to let up for a little bit. I think at least the first half of November is going to be pretty busy. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. It's just my gut feeling. And my gut feelings have been more often right than not that I mention them. I think I would be doing you a disservice not to. So, and you can go back, do my shows and see. When I start warning of, news going a little crazy, in short term, it's not like I can predict the future. But there is just something. There is something that I get in my gut when things are going to start going a little sideways. So, when I feel it, I mention it. Let's see. I have a couple of sips of coffee and oh goodness. Oh. Furnace kicked on. I could barely hear it with the headphones on. What the heck was that? Alright. Okay, starting with Friday's news. U.S. death row inmate pressing lawsuit against inhumane and painful lethal injection method convulsed and vomited during execution. Los Angeles airport halts flights. Passengers self-evacuate over gun threat incident. 66-year-old German man admits to castrating men on his kitchen table, denies murder charges, and tells court procedures were voluntary. I don't know about you, but if you ever hear anybody say that I voluntarily got up on a table and requested to be castrated, you can be rest assured they're lying. Let's see, a global oil shortage is inevitable, says oil price. Coercion is not consent. Firefighters and police rally against vaccine mandate outside New York mayor's residence. Remember, I'm doing the news that came out Friday. More French boats could be boarded in retaliation for Scottish scallop trawlers' detention, the UK warns, as fishing spat escalates. Yeah, they're getting pretty serious about that over there. I actually, and I don't know, but I've kind of asked myself the question. I haven't got an answer, by the way. And if I do, I might be concerned. I wonder if there might be, some blows thrown. I don't know. I don't even know to what level that would even be possible. So, Ohio school board head who pinned controversial race and equity resolution resigns before being ousted by state senators. Russia's Gazprom to cover third of global gas consumption growth in 2021. South Korea begins effort to live with COVID-19 as it rolls out first vaccine passport scheme for high-risk venues. Poland asked Russia for new discount deal with cheaper gas to slash its energy bills amid shortages and price rises across Europe. Belarusian authorities declare activists behind popular Polish-based opposition Nexta Telegram channel to be extremist formation. Protests hit Italy after Senate kills bill broadening LGBT communities' rights. 10 eco-warriors arrested for walking towards oncoming motorway traffic. Court told 3 days of activism cost the UK £900,000. Let's see. Ireland unveils new social distancing guidelines for venues reopening post-COVID. Bill Gates says nuclear power ensures reliability of energy supply and warns of public backlash against carbon tax and price hikes. I saw this, and this is me personally. I mean, I've never been a fan of nuclear energy. And to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I would much rather continuing with the gas and fossil fuels, at least for now, until we can come up with something that's more feasible than nuclear power. Because I understand that it's clean. I get that. It's clean up until the point that something happens. Then it's not too clean anymore. Fukushima, anyone. That can happen anywhere, regardless of all the safety protocols that are in place. If you have a massive, earthquake, a megaquake somewhere, I don't think things are going to stay in place too well, especially if there's used rods, which I'm pretty sure probably every nuclear power plant has used rods that they store right there at the facility. Man, those things run dry, you're in trouble. You're in serious, serious trouble. And if there's a 9.0 quake, especially here in the Midwest, if we had a 9.0 quake here in the Midwest, I would imagine that there are a few plants that's probably going to go into meltdown. And I'm just saying, what are they supposed to do when you have spent rod fuel pools that have breached and can no longer hold the water? You know how long that takes to start that plume into the sky? Not very. Not very. And I mean, that's, I understand a catastrophic scenario, but even in a better case scenario to where, power's completely wiped out, and let's say that they have to run just on their backup and diesel generators and all of that stuff. You're starting to chip away at fail-safes at that point. And considering it was a massive quake, what's to say there isn't something else that's about to give when it comes to those redundancy systems to keep those pumps running, to keep those spent fuel rods submerged in water. So I'm sorry to go on a little rant about that, but I don't think it's as safe as advertised. It is if everything's okay. You know, if nothing happens, if a tornado don't smack into the thing, which I think they can deal with a tornado much better than they could a massive earthquake. But, you know, I just don't think it's a bright idea. Anyway, I'll continue on. Let's see. Florida elementary school trip to gay bar angers parents. Well, I would hope so. And they are wondering why parents are showing up at schools upset. I wonder why parents don't. There isn't anywhere near, not even remotely near the response that there should be over this stuff. And it's highly concerning to me that there's not. AT&T accused of coercing white employees to conform to diversity and inclusion programming or face sanctions. Unvaccinated Russian MPs to be forced to work remotely after Speaker mandates COVID-19 inoculation for everyone in Parliament. Russian ruble on track for biggest monthly gain versus US dollar in 2021. A government response to COVID-19 was too slow and insufficient to stop the spread, a Swedish commission finds. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was another study, by the way, a Lancet study that we're going to be talking about here in a moment. That is interesting. A devastating Taiwanese fire that killed 46 and gutted apartment block blamed on a woman who failed to extinguish burning incense. Let's see. Russian military trained to overwhelm air attackers with massive defense barrages. Outspoken Russian Communist MP detained by police on suspicion of illegal hunting after being caught with dead moose in his car trunk. I'm thinking that he had to have one hell of a good-sized car if he had a dead moose in the trunk. I mean, do you go shopping for that particular size trunk? I mean, do you go up to the salesman and go, oh, I don't know, do you think you could fit a dead moose in there? I mean, just saying. Still on Friday's news, by the way. I'm thinking, am I getting huffed? That's like the second time, ain't it? I'm getting huffed. Let's see. Victory for common sense. Question mark. UK government plans to ban conversion therapies for children and vulnerable adults. Let's see. Renowned philosophy professor Kathleen Stock quits Sussex University after harassment by trans activists. You know, because they're fighting for their rights so they don't get harassed? Yeah, you know. EU Parliament sues European Commission over inaction concerning rule of law mechanism. U.S. commitment to help Taiwan self-defense is rock solid, de facto ambassador claims, despite Beijing's warning to stop contact. U.S. announces new deal with Moscow to boost commercial flights through Russian airspace after firms warned planes could be grounded. European gas prices drop as Russia eases supply concerns. I figured that was going to happen. I figured what they were doing in Europe is basically before that they, and I could be way wrong on this, but I think basically before they got Nord Stream 2 all fired up and running good, they were going to fleece the people as much as they possibly could. And that is my opinion to what was really going on there over in Europe. Now, I could be way wrong on that, but it's how these quote-unquote humans do business. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon says Boris doesn't want to meet with her due to his fragile male ego. She might be right. Accusations that Russia uses energy as geopolitical weapon are baseless, Banca Intessa's chair says. Dozens of Hindus detained for disrupting Muslim Friday prayer gatherings in India amid sectarian tensions. Sectarian. I mean, they may be pissed off too. I don't know. Chinese media boss mocks Washington Post jealousy over Beijing's strict COVID control practices. Or policies, or whatever the hell. Let me have a sip of coffee. Please. Yeah. I guess earlier in the show I forgot to mention the hell was it? 85 car? Is that what it was, Jen? An 85 car motorcade? I'm talking about Commander the Commander-in-Chief. Damn, I don't have my bullshit button. I think 85 is what the number was. I don't know. Seems a little excessive. I mean, the jokes could be endless there. Let's see. Oh, sorry. This is what made me think of that. Pope Francis tells South Korean president he'll travel to North Korea for cause of peace if invited. Thought I was going to die. Gitmo prisoner who aided Al-Qaeda testifies gruesome details of CIA's interrogation torture. A blogger and girlfriend given 10 months in Russian prison after snapping photos simulating oral sex outside iconic Moscow cathedral. And since there are two other individuals, there's this one woman, and I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing the article, to where she's like bent over with a thong on. And so I think she's been charged or arrested, one of the two or both. And then yet there's another one. So, and we'll get to them. UK warns France of legal action on fishing dispute, claims Paris is on cusp of breaching post-Brexit trade deal as spat escalates. Aung San Suu Kyi aide jailed for 20 years by military tribunal of Myanmar junta. I'm sure I got that name way wrong. We're still on Friday, by the way. Let's see. What we did was clumsy, Biden tells Macron during first meeting after AUKUS submarine deal row. Queen Elizabeth ordered by doctors to rest for at least 2 weeks, the palace says. Gazprom opened a striking deal with Moldova over new gas contract, Moscow says, after Russia insists country must pay old debts. Biden says Pope told him he's a good Catholic and to keep taking communion as conservatives outraged abortion didn't come up. And I'm curious if that was indeed what he was told. I am doubtful that that is how that went down, but I could be wrong. I mean, you have that kind of money, it's just pretty much a universal blessing when it comes to the Roman Catholic Vatican, all that good stuff, right? Kind of a pay-as-you-go method for sins. Ben & Jerry's parent company loses $111 million in pension funds over Israel boycott. UK military organizing mock training camps to get Muslim women into its Army of the Future months after bombshell Me Too inquiry. Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, there goes the kids. Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Oh, I got to tell you about that. I'm pretty sure that was probably them that just ran back by. So, the children of today are not real super bright, okay? Because we were sitting here, and it was, shortly before the show, and I noticed movement on our cameras, and I noticed a group of teenagers, 6, 7, and I thought there might have been younger, but there apparently wasn't, that were gathered around the front of the neighbor's car, and it kind of looked like they were kind of hiding from somebody, and it's Halloween, right? And so anyway, they moved away from her vehicle, and they started to go down the street, and I saw them stop just on the edge of where I could see them, and all of them stood in one place and looked like they were getting ready to run as one of them was approaching our door. And I had already figured out what was going on by this time, and I just sat there and watched on the camera. I'm not going to get excited about it, what do they call it, ding-dong ditch these days. And in my day, it was called something entirely different, which I'm not going to say. And anyway, I knew that that's what they were doing. And they knocked on the door, took off running. I thought it was funny. But anyway, they're not very bright because you can see our security cameras. They've, the infrared that they have is pretty remarkable. And if you look at the cameras from outside, it's pretty obvious there's a camera there. It glows pretty bright red where the infrared emitters are. So, yeah, you can't really mistake it. You can see the cameras pretty clearly. So, not real super bright. But anyway, I just thought it was funny. Let's see. This is an absolute crazy article here. Russian mother ordered to pay for repairs to train that mowed down 15-year-old son has bill scrapped after public outcry, says reports. Apparently, from my understanding, the young man had headphones on and did not hear the train, and unfortunately was hit by said train. And I guess the mother was sent a bill for repairs to the train, which is kind of, yeah. Let's see. Elon Musk floats idea of Texas Institute of Technology and Science gets its acronym trending with flood of puns and innuendos. And I'll repeat that for those that want to make sure they get it right. It would be the acronym for Texas Institute of Technology and Science. And I'm all for a Tits University down in Texas. Texas Tits University, why not? U.S. Treasury imposes sanctions against Iran's Revolutionary Guard commanders, companies over alleged drone attacks on ships. Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccine given emergency use approval by FDA for kids aged 5 to 11. And I had somebody in the comments on the video I put out correct this headline and say it's not approval, authorization is the correct word. Well, emergency authorization is the correct word. So I want to correct it again here. I did so in the title of the video, but I want to make sure I corrected it here as well. Still on Friday's news, by the way, Tunisia reports dismantling 2 ISIS-linked cells in days. One cell was planning attacks. Let's see. Rutgers professor said that we got to take these MFers out. She's speaking about white people and says that white people are committed to being villains. Absolute craziness. Gazprom strikes gas supply deal with Moldova on mutually beneficial terms, averting emergency. Let's see. COVID-19, neither bioweapon nor genetically engineered, U.S. intel says, but hints if China doesn't cooperate, it can reconsider. How does this work? And does anybody else get the sense that games are just being played and maybe not even between nations? Maybe it's just games with us. How the hell do we know anymore? Barrett Kavanaugh leads SCOTUS in denying relief to Maine healthcare workers objecting to COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Let's see. Ice Cube ditches movie and $9 million after refusing to get COVID-19 vaccine. I guess there was a movie called Oh Hell No, and Ice Cube told them, oh hell no. Right on Ice Cube. Prince Andrew asked U.S. court to dismiss sex assault lawsuit by Epstein accuser Guthrie or provide more definitive allegations. Let's see. Nazis allegedly supporting Republican candidate with tiki torches revealed to be false flag stunt by the Lincoln Project. Absolute madness. Let's see. Beirut scrambles to mend ties with Saudi Arabia after Riyadh expels Lebanese envoy and bans imports. Still on Friday, by the way. Virginia malls boost security. Police on lookout for non-specific Halloween weekend ISIS terrorist attack threat. Let's see. Okay, now we are to yesterday. That deserves a sip of coffee. Yesterday was quite the busy day, too, as I recall. Hey, there's a $24.99 oil change special going on at Midas. Midas, yeah, the ad on my little stream control. Just thought I'd let you know. I'm surprised, like, Google doesn't say thank you through the phone or something. I'll expect payment in my AdSense account, Google. Let's see. All right. Starting with the news I put out yesterday morning. U.S. aviation regulator mulls warnings to pilots over deep concerns 5G towers could interfere with cockpit systems, says reports. So now we got this fear-mongering going. Why do I say it, and why do I say it that way? Because there was never a concern with cell phones and aviation equipment. No, not really. Not so much. Let's see. Huge crowd protest in Melbourne against vaccine mandates and sweeping pandemic powers bill. Industrial production in Japan drops a 13-month low, says the economy ministry. Now you hear that? Production in Japan drops to a 13-month low. What's been going on for longer, a little longer than 13 months? Right. We're actually going up on 2 years. Now, have to understand that as soon as COVID hit, things didn't shut down. There was a little length of time before things shut down, especially in Japan, because if I recall right, Japan was a little bit further behind when it came to them being hit with it. All I'm trying to do is to get you to understand that these shortages, they're just beginning. They're just beginning at a 13-month low. So items that come from Japan, you can expect to be delayed for quite a while longer. And I would expect that you would see the same, or can expect to see the same, from many other major exporters to the United States, especially China. I have a feeling that things are going to get crappy again when it comes to COVID. So, and I mean that in just the overall sense, not just in what the government's response is going to be, but with the sickness itself. I think it's going to leave a mark. Ukraine may boost firewood exports to warm EU despite skyrocketing prices at home, Analysis and Strategy Center head says. Beijing dismisses unscientific report on COVID-19 origins by U.S. intelligence community. Australian police seize Nazi flag near synagogue ahead of Kristallnacht anniversary, and I probably pronounced that wrong. U.S. confirms Russia's status as market economy, but Moscow says decision needs cautious assessment. We need systemic way to update vaccines as mutating COVID-19 will be with us for a long time, Putin says at the G20. Now hold up. Because the last I knew, Putin was saying that he didn't think and was absolutely against the idea of compulsory vaccines. Now, it's like he's wanting an auto-update system put in. Elderly woman in Belgium called racist, thrown off the bus with head injury after suspected fight with Moroccans. Human civilization could collapse like Roman Empire if climate change not addressed, UK PM Boris Johnson warns. I like it better when they refer to him as UK's Johnson. New king on the block, Microsoft beats Apple as world's most valuable company. Well, Microsoft is trying to be the new IBM. in a Holocaust kind of way. Let's see. UK Climate Committee Chairman rips into Australia for doing little to combat climate change ahead of COP26. Here's the bare naked butt. Police investigate woman's butt pics. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they investigated the hell out of those pictures. In front of St. Petersburg Cathedral, days after male blogger and girlfriend jailed for racy images. So, and then I do believe there is a third incident that happens. Israeli missile strikes near Damascus leaves 2 soldiers wounded, says the Syrian media. G20 leaders endorse deal on minimum corporate tax that could make rich states richer but leave poor ones in the dust. Kuwait orders Lebanon's top diplomat to leave country in regional row over comments on Yemen. A climate catastrophe threatens the whole world, but politics and West weaponization of sanctions could blunt COP26 effectiveness. Spat over English Channel fishing licenses damages UK's credibility, says French President Macron. Them and us vaccine passport rules for public but not world leaders at COP26 spark outrage over dual COVID standards. US, UK, France, Germany say they're concerned about Iran's provocative nuclear steps in G20 statement and urge full compliance. Yeah, this is the Lancet study that came out. The Lancet study says, YouTube, Google, COVID vaccinations not sufficient in preventing Delta variant spread, almost equal to unvaccinated, says the UK study. I mean, I can't make any claims. All I can do is read you the headlines and nod. CNN brings Lincoln Project advisor on as Republican strategist to comment on election after stunt against GOP candidates. You know, when they showed up with tiki torches. This is like clown world, seriously. Protests in Sudan escalate amid reports of victims. Videos claim to show military opening fire. First reported death of a teenager after COVID-19 vaccination registered in South Korea. Authorities investigate incident. Still on yesterday's news. Let me have a sip of coffee. Now you know why I started the headlines when I did. Because there were a lot of them. Eastern European nations facing sharp spike in COVID-19 cases with low rates of vaccination undermining efforts to end pandemic. Hunter Biden's New York art exhibit draws few visitors. Many give fake names. Even his own parents decide to skip it, says the media. I wonder if his dealer went. I mean, that would have been nice. Let's see. Video of Biden's massive 85-car motorcade ahead of climate summit leaves critics stunned. Ex-Polish president, anti-communist and Nobel Peace Prize winner Walesa faces jail over denying links to communist secret police. I'm sure I probably said his name wrong. Southwest on defense's AP reporter claims she was almost removed from flight after pilot signed off with "Let's go, Brandon." Israeli fighter jets escort American B-1B bomber in show of continued strategic cooperation. We are to this morning's news. Yay! Don't mind me while I have a vape. Alright. SpaceX and NASA ask astronauts to limit Crew Dragon toilet use following urine leak on previous flight. So if you've got to go often, you're not in luck. Let's see. Russia ramps up agricultural, exports by almost 20% since January. OPEC Plus ready to risk higher prices, says oil price. Australia's Morrison contradicts Biden, says U.S. new Canberra didn't warn France about ditching submarine deal in favor of AUKUS. Iran civil defense chief says U.S. and Israel behind cyber attack that disrupted thousands of gas stations this week. U.S. EU in Trump-era dispute over steel and aluminum tariffs, says European Commission. Thousands rally against mandatory COVID-19 health pass in Paris and Milan. I mean, it is absolutely crazy the amount of people worldwide that are against all these mandates, these health passes. What is concerning is how insistent that the governments are, because the governments aren't backing down at all. Not really. Not really. Others below the core of the government may be, but like in our case, the federal government, the administration and whatnot, they're not backing down. And I don't expect to see many of the higher-ups at all back down. They wouldn't be in their positions if they would. Chinese cities climbing global ranking, a study shows. Internet sleuths claim to have proof that China created COVID despite U.S. intelligence reporting none. Russia fully committed to reducing carbon emissions, wants same accurate and transparent rules for all nations, says Putin at G20. Ransomware hackers, presumably Russian-linked, steal personal data on Trump, Oprah, and others in online jewelry firm heist, says the media. Wow. I mean, because that's what we all want, is Oprah's private information. I don't. Maybe you do. No, I don't. The less I know, the better. President had set his mind on it. UK Foreign Affairs Committee chairman says U.S. made a mistake with Afghanistan withdrawal. Russia can take 20% of global market for wild organic crops. At least 15 people injured after attack in fire-hit Tokyo metro train. Man with knife detained, says reports. This was crazy. The dude dressed up like Joker. The Joker. Right? Now, he didn't appear to have all like the face makeup on or anything, but the coloring and styling of his clothing, that is absolutely who he was dressed up as. and went on this train and I guess started stabbing people, and at some point put some type of a liquid onto the floor and ignited it. I mean, absolutely insane attack in Tokyo. Macron tells Johnson to respect rules of the game at meeting over fishing licenses dispute, says the media. Renewables pushing EU outsources their hidden eco costs to developing nations, then slaps tax on them, says a Russian security chief. G20 leaders pledge meaningful and effective climate action in final statement, but give few concrete steps to a cooler planet. One killed after cable car plummets to the ground in Czech mountains. CNN analysts ripped for comparing pilots' anti-Biden Let's Go Brandon sign-off to ISIS loyalty pledge. That is quite a bit dramatic. Biden's approval plummets further as over 70% say country headed in the wrong direction, says an NBC poll. I mean, this is an NBC poll. This isn't a Fox News poll. This isn't an OANN or whatever poll, OAN, whatever the hell it is. This is NBC. Nothing but Clinton Network. You know what I'm talking about. Iowa governor signs law granting unemployment benefits to those fired for not being vaccinated. Grass isn't always greener, ? Russians are increasingly skeptical of Western-style democracy, and young are turning against the left. Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov says, he said we're not adding to stability, and he's referring to the U.S. sailing a destroyer into the Black Sea. A grocery store in California claims out-of-control shoplifting as Walgreens closes more than a dozen stores over theft. I've been hearing a lot of this. Luke from We Are Change and Tim Poole have spoke to this a lot. American Airlines passengers suffer frightful Halloween weekend with 1,700 flights canceled since Friday amid staffing woes. I was telling you about that earlier. Tokyo subway attacker wore Joker costume and sought death sentence, stabbed 17 people before starting a fire, says reports. And that's actually a picture of him that you see there, where he wore kind of like the purple and green outfit. I mean, clearly, there was I don't believe any face makeup, but clearly that's what he was imitating. Let's see. That's what getting everybody vaccinated is all about. Buttigieg admits U.S. supply chain issues won't end until pandemic does. Well, Facebook can fact check me again on that one. Multiple people injured after two trains collide inside tunnel near Salisbury, says the UK, or near Salisbury, UK, something. A lot of headlines, almost done. Wow. Global elites flying private jets to COP26 climate conference emit more CO2 than hundreds of citizens would in a year, says UK media. Yeah, I don't fart that much. Majority of Swiss refuse to pay more for fuel and heating to meet climate change goals, says a survey. And there's three headlines up there. Let's see. This one probably needs to go out. Anti-racism professor deletes tweet about students lying they're not white to improve admission odds, denounces critics as racist. This getting ridiculous. Hang on, let me get this shared out. Otherwise, I'll forget. I'll never do it. It happens. I know me. Alright. Number 2. Let's see. Use guns, take back the Senate. Lindsey Graham called for Capitol Police to shoot January 6th rioters, says a report. Let's see. And what was the... Oops. Can't do that. Okay. And lastly, U.S. trained Afghan soldiers and spies joining ISIS terrorists to resist the Taliban, says reports. I would not be surprised about much of anything that comes out of all of that, because it was pretty ridiculous. Okay. It looks like I am caught up. Alright, I am going to sneak out of here and kind of chillax the rest of the night. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. Hope to see you here. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.